Hi, today I want to look at another feature in Canva, which is Photo Editor. Really clever if you want to change the look and feel of a photo. Let me go from my screen and we'll take a look. I've selected a bright photo in Canva so I can show you the effects more clearly. I have duplicated this so that we've got it twice because I want to be able to show you the contrast between the original and the one that we're going to change. The first thing I'm going to do is click on the whole photo and go to Edit on the floating toolbar above. And you can see under the image, they've got all these options along here. And the first one I'm going to choose is click. You can see these all now flashing at me so I can decide which one I want. And I think I'm going to go for the stapler. I'm going to click on that. I want to show you how much you can change this. What we're going to do is change the white balance. I can either make that much brighter or I can take it the other way and it puts a much darker color onto it. And then I can change the tint. And then the one that makes a lot of difference, I think, is the brightness. And I know a lot of people who adjust the brightness on their selfies, so that can be a useful tip. I think I'm going to go brighter rather than lighter. And also I can change the contrast. Or I can add highlights. I'm going to leave that one there. You need to deselect, and then need to click again and highlight another area that I might want to change. And you could do this with lots of objects in a photo. Let's play with this one. See, I'm changing that to lighter. Changing the temperature. A little more intense. Then change the tint. We'll make it slightly brighter. Then change the brightness. And then we'll click off it. The next thing I'm going to do is go to Foreground. So if I click on it, it will choose the foreground. This photo, it's the woman's arm and the mobile phone. Again, I have the option to adjust it, so I could go into Magic Grab and change it to something else in her hand if I wanted to, or Magic Eraser. But I've done videos on those before. What I want to look at is the adjust option. And I've got the foreground selected, and now we can adjust. It can make it more tanned, or we can take the temperature down and make it a little cooler. I'm going to make it look warmer rather than cooler. You'll see it more obviously once I compare it to the original photo. In brightness, make that a little brighter, it's a bit faded. And that's quite dirty, it's a colour. So I might just make it a little brighter there. And you can fine adjust these to your heart's content. It's very easy to do. Improve the contrast. Highlight is tending to wash out the phone detail. Now when done foreground, we can then do the background. Now it's highlighted the whole of the background. You can see it's done that because you can see the colours it's put up in the colour bar. Again, we'll go to adjust. And let's change the white balance. This is the neutral midpoint. So let's go to make it warmer, which I don't like quite so much. Or we can make it a lot cooler on the temperature adjustments. And that, for me, gives it a bit more intensity. Then we can go to the tint, or we can lighten it. I'm going to go down the darker route. And then, as before, we can make it brighter. We should just really wash it out, or a little darker. Now it's actually coming to my brand colours, so I'm happy with that. And I could change the highlights, I can add shadows, or change them. And I can adjust the whites or the blacks. If I keep going down, there are even more options. I can do the vibrance. Just made it a lot more vibrant because in terms of the colour and the saturation. And that's very, poured colour onto it. And that's faded it out. Or I could just do the boring thing and click on it and go and just change the colour as I normally would. I can obviously change the sharpness and the clarity. You can do so much now. I wouldn't get carried away with this, just do what makes sense. Improve the clarity, so I want to do that. I'm going to leave vignette. If I didn't want any of these, I could just reset it. I'm now going to click on the grid view so you can see these side by side. Click on the bottom right. But you can see how much we've changed this from the left to the right just by editing the colour. So do have fun with some of your photos. You can play endlessly with them, but it's really interesting to just see how with some very subtle changes, you can completely alter the look of the image that you're working with. I hope that helps, and if you found this useful, please do subscribe below, and I'll see you next week.